Something very big just happened in the sunny hills of California. A thick folder of papers was slammed down on a fancy wooden desk. It made a sound so loud, it sounded like a judge's hammer in a courtroom. Everyone in the room stopped talking. The air felt heavy, like a storm was coming. Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, just found out some news that changes everything for her family. Right here on the Palace Vale, we are looking at the secret plan that just fell apart because of King Charles himself. If you want to know what the king did to stop Meghan, you have to stay with us until the very end. This is a story about a king, a prince, and a duchess who are in a huge fight that the world was never supposed to see. Before we get deep into these secret papers that have made Meghan so angry, I have a quick favor to ask you. We work very hard to bring you the newest stories from inside the palace. If you want to know every move the royals make before anyone else, please hit that subscribe button right now. Only a tiny bit of the people who watch our videos are actually subscribed, and you definitely do not want to miss what is coming next in this royal drama. This video, a big thumbs up if you are ready to hear the truth. Also, go ahead and type the word block in the comments if you think King Charles is doing the right thing by being tough. Your comments really help keep our show going, and we love reading what you think about the king and the Sussex family. It was exactly 2:15 in the afternoon in Montecito, California. The sun was shining outside, but inside the big house where Harry and Meghan live, things felt very cold. A big pile of papers about their public image was dropped on a desk. It was the kind of sound that tells you something is over. The room was totally quiet, but you could feel the stress in the air. Everyone there suddenly realized that their big plans were in trouble. Meghan Markle had just read a message on her phone that changed everything. The date was March 15, 2026. For a long time, Harry and Meghan had a secret plan called Operation Birmingham. They wanted this plan to help them become popular again in the United Kingdom. King Charles III just built a giant wall that they could not climb over. This was not just a little fight between a dad and his son. This was the complete end of what people inside the palace were calling the big recovery campaign of 2024 for many months. Harry and Meghan's team had been working very hard to tell a specific story. The story was that Meghan would go with her husband, Prince Harry, to a big sports event called the Invictus Games in a city called Birmingham. But there was one big rule. They would only go if the government gave them special police guards to keep them safe. Now, you should know that the real Invictus Games are not happening until 2027, but this story is about Meghan wanting to come back to England this very year. Some people in England are calling this a return that nobody wants. They are even using mean words to describe her coming back. The plan was supposed to be a grand return. They wanted to use the Invictus Games as a pretty background for their comeback. The most important part of the plan was to show Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet to the British public for the very first time in a long time. They thought that if people saw the cute children, they would have to be nice to Harry and Meghan. They wanted to use the innocence of the kids to make the royal family say they were sorry and give them an official apology. Most of all, they wanted the king to give them the best security guards in the world that they didn't have to pay for themselves. But as the morning sun hit the coast of California, all that power they thought they had just disappeared. The Invictus Games are planned for July of 2027, but there is always a big meeting or a visit 1 year before the games start. That is why Harry and Meghan were planning to come this year. But then a very important email arrived from the government office in London. It had a very boring name that said Security Protocol Update for the Sussexes. But even though the name was boring, the message inside was like a bomb. It was a document that said they were officially blocked. It was like the king had put a giant padlock on the gate to the country. Inside the big house in California, things were getting very tense. People who know the couple say that after a very short and angry phone call with someone from the palace in London, Meghan was very upset. People who were there said the Duchess did not even know what to say at first. Then, she got so mad that she threw the folder of papers. She reportedly looked at Prince Harry and said something very scary. She said that they were being trapped. She thought the royal family only wanted the kids there so they could take pictures, but they wouldn't give the family the protection they needed to stay safe. She felt like if they couldn't go back on their own terms, they were being erased from the history of England forever. What Meghan is so upset about is a group of people called RAVEC. This is a special committee that decides who gets royal bodyguards. New information from reporters shows that King Charles did not just stay quiet and let the committee decide. He actually told them to use a very specific rule. The plan he used is very simple, but it works perfectly. First, the king said that this trip to England is a private family trip, not an official work trip for the crown. Second, because it is just a private trip, the government automatically says no to paying for their security. Third, because they won't have the official police guards, Meghan's lawyers told her it is too dangerous for the kids to travel. So the final result is that Harry and Meghan have to either stay in California or come to England like normal people without any special treatment. This takes away the royal sparkle they need to keep their brand famous around the world. If we look back at the last few years, we can see exactly how this started. In June of 2022, during the big party for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, the world saw the first signs that things were getting cold. When Meghan walked into a big church called St. Paul's Cathedral, a lot of people in the crowd started booing her. That loud sound of people being unhappy still bothers her today. Then, in January of 2023, Prince Harry put out a book called Spare. In that book, he said a lot of mean things about his family. Because of that book, King Charles did something that no king had done before. He kicked them out of their home in England, which was called Frogmore Cottage. Now, in March of 2026, the last door has been slammed shut. The newspapers are saying that King Charles has made it very clear that he will not let himself be used to make Meghan look good. The palace says the king thinks the grandchildren are family, not tools to be used for fame. He wants to protect Archie and Lilibet from the cameras and the crazy news stories that he thinks Meghan is planning. The king has all the power here. He is the boss of the country and the boss of the family. By blocking her big return, he is making sure she cannot use England to be a star anymore. As we sit here today, the fallout is just starting. Meghan Markle is not just mad. She is starting to see that her best plan has failed. She has no more cards to play. What happens when someone like the Duchess feels like she has nothing left to lose? We are looking at a situation where every choice leads to more fighting. In a moment, we are going to look at the secret security files and the secret meetings that led to this big rejection. The real-life Game of Thrones in the 21st century has entered a very dangerous time. To understand why Meghan is so angry, we have to look at how the palace has been saying no to her for a long time. This was not a quick decision by the king. It is the end of a long story where they have slowly lost their power. Their brand used to be one of the most famous in the world, but now they are locked out of the very palace they tried to change. The whole story of this drama goes all the way back to 2014 in London. That was when the Invictus Games first started. Back then, Prince Harry was the favorite grandson of the Queen. Everyone loved him. He had the full support of the royal family. At that time, the Sussex name stood for helping people and being a hero. It was a position of great power. Meghan later tried to use that power for her own goals, but then we go back to that day at the church in 2022. That was the moment when everything changed. When the crowd booed, the mask fell off. It was the first time Meghan really saw that many people in England did not like her anymore. It hurt her brand very badly. It wasn't about being a royal anymore. It was about people feeling like she had let them down. The fighting got even worse when Harry's book came out. It was a direct attack on the palace. King Charles did not yell or make a big speech. He just acted. He took away their house and stopped giving them money. They were basically sent away to live in another country far away. But the most hurtful thing happened in February of 2024. When the news came out that King Charles was sick, Harry flew all the way to London. He spent 11 hours on a plane because he wanted to fix things and get some good news stories, but it was a total embarrassment. King Charles only gave his son 45 minutes of his time. He wouldn't even see Meghan, and he wouldn't talk about the grandkids at all. The message was very loud. You are family, but you do not work for the crown anymore. By the time 2024 rolled around in Birmingham, they were getting desperate. Meghan started telling people she would bring Archie and Lilibet back to England. She thought that if people saw the kids, they would forgive her. She thought that if the king saw his grandkids, he would give them their bodyguards back. But now, the gates of Buckingham Palace are locked tighter than ever. King Charles has officially said no. No big events, no standing on the palace balcony, and no police guards. Meghan's big plan is dead. Now people are whispering about a secret letter sent from California to London. Some say it is a final warning from Meghan. This letter could change the royal war forever. You see, to understand why Meghan is stuck in California, you have to look at the boring rules of the British government. It is all about that group called RAVEC. While the world sees a family fight, the palace is using a legal trap to keep Meghan away. It is called the security trap. Here is how it works. First, because Harry and Meghan quit being working royals, they can't just show up and get police guards. They have to tell the government exactly where they are going and what they are doing at least 2 months before they arrive. This makes Meghan feel weak because she has to tell the palace every secret detail of her trip. Second, a group of people in suits looks at those details. They don't care if she is a celebrity. They only care if there is a real danger to the country. In this part, Harry and Meghan have no say at all. The real kill switch is the third step. This is where King Charles has the most power. The rules say that high-level security is only for people who do work for the king. Since the king is the boss, he gets to decide who is a working royal. By saying that Harry and Meghan are just private citizens, Charles makes sure the security guards say no. It is like a game of chess where the king has won. This means Meghan's legal team in California has to tell her it is too dangerous to bring the kids. This is actually a very smart move by the palace. By saying no to the guards, they aren't actually banning the kids. They are making it so Meghan has to choose to leave them at home. If the kids don't come, there is no happy family photo. There is no video for her next TV show. There is no way for her to look like a royal again. Meghan is losing it because she realized her best tools are stuck in a vault she can't open. The brand is running out of air. But even while this is happening, there is more trouble. There are reports that the palace is making a secret file about all the rules Harry and Meghan have broken. This file could be released very soon. The reason Meghan's return is failing is because of an authority ladder that King Charles has built. It is a 3-level fortress. On the first level, we have the Invictus Games. Secret papers from the games in London show that when they sent out the invites for the Birmingham event, they only invited Harry. They did not invite his wife or his kids. For a duchess who wants to be a star at these events, this is a huge blow. It tells her she isn't needed. On the second level, we have the Home Office. They are the ones who handle the money and the police. Just 3 days ago, they said again that Harry and Meghan are not getting taxpayer-funded guards. They said being a royal isn't something you can just buy. Without those police cars and flashing lights, Meghan is just another person in the crowd. And that crowd is not very happy to see her. The third and most dangerous level is the king's silence. In the royal world, saying nothing is a very big move. There was a deadline to check Harry's security status for the upcoming events, and that deadline has already passed. This was the king's last chance to help them, and he chose to do nothing. By staying silent, the king is telling the police not to give her any special help. This is a total blockade. Charles has made sure that if Meghan goes to Birmingham, she is just a regular tourist. Meghan is feeling very stuck because she can't fix this with a PR story. Every step she takes is blocked by a rule. But what if Harry tries to bring the kids in secret? That is a question that people in the palace are very worried about. This could lead to a whole new kind of fight that could change who becomes king in the future. The most stressful part of this fight is not happening in the news. It is happening behind the heavy curtains of the center room at Buckingham Palace. This is the room that leads to the famous balcony where the royals wave to the people. On March 15, 2026, the mood in that room was very serious. The king was sitting at his desk, and he was given a list of very important people for the 2027 Invictus Games. Reports say the king took his pen and crossed out one name, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. His advisors told him that every time Meghan shows up, she tries to make it all about her. By taking her name off the list, the king is making sure the focus stays on the veterans who are competing. He is taking away the big stage she needs to stay famous. But the saddest part of all this is what happens to the children. Archie is now 6 years old and Lilibet is 4. In California, these kids are being used as bargaining chips in a big game. Meghan wanted to use their ages to make people feel sorry for her. She wanted a big homecoming for the grandkids. But the palace fought back with data. They have a secret report that shows how much people like the royals. It shows that Meghan's popularity has crashed. It is now even lower than Prince Andrew's popularity. That is a very bad sign. The security team warned that if Meghan showed up at the event in Birmingham, people would not just boo. There might be huge protests. The king is trying to stop a disaster from happening on TV. By blocking her, he is protecting the monarchy from a very bad look. Meghan is upset because she can't win against a king who won't talk and a public that won't forget what she said. She's watching her kids grow up without knowing their royal family because of the wall she helped build. The walls are closing in on the Sussexes. As the sun goes down in California, something new is happening. People who watch the media have noticed that Harry and Meghan's team is getting very active. This is often what happens before they start a big media attack. Some are calling it a scorched earth plan. That means if she can't have her royal life, she might try to destroy everything. The next few days will show us if this family fight turns into a huge crisis for the whole country. Is Harry going to pick his dad's silence or his wife's demands? The answer might be in a secret plan that the palace is very scared of. On this morning of March 15, 2026, it looks like there will be no peace. The lines between California and London are dead. Experts think there are 3 ways this could end. The first way is the worst. Meghan might ignore all the warnings and show up in Birmingham anyway. This would be a huge gamble. If she gets booed again and it is shown on every TV in the world, her brand will be finished. No one will want to work with her if she is that unpopular. It would show everyone that she is not a royal, but an enemy of the palace. The second way is what Harry hopes for, but it probably won't happen. That is the chance that King Charles changes his mind and gives them everything they want. But the king cannot do that. If he gives in now, the people in England will be very mad at him. He has to put the crown first, even before his own son. This brings us to the most likely thing that will happen. Harry will go to England all by himself. He will stand on that stage in Birmingham as the leader of the games, but his wife and kids will not be there. He will have to pay for his own private bodyguards who don't have the same power as the police. While Harry is alone in England, Meghan will stay in her California house and tell the world how unfair it is. We will see lots of stories saying the palace is being mean and keeping a mom away from her family. She will say the king is trying to take the kids' heritage away. Harry will look like a lonely man caught between his wife and his dad. He will still be a prince, but he will be like a ghost in his own home. But Meghan might have missed something very important. There is a secret document in the palace that talks about an old rule. This rule says that the king or queen is the ultimate guardian of all the royal grandchildren. This is a very old law that has been around for hundreds of years. People are saying this rule was talked about in the private papers of the late Queen Elizabeth. The question that is making Meghan's lawyers very nervous is this. If Archie and Lilibet step foot on British soil, does the king automatically get legal control over them? If they go to England, does Meghan lose the power to take them back to America? This is a huge deal. It means the security fight might have just been a distraction. The real trap might be about who gets to keep the children. This is not just about fame anymore. It is a battle for the next generation of the royal family. Before we talk about the specific details of this guardianship secret in our next video, we want to hear from you. Do you think King Charles is being a genius by using these rules? Or do you think he is being too mean to Harry? Please go down to the comments and type the word trapped if you think Harry and Meghan have no way out of this corner. If you liked this deep dive into the royal secrets, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the Palace Vale so you never miss an update. We are watching every move and every paper in this royal war. Our next story about the Queen's secret is going to be amazing, and you do not want to be late for it. Thank you so much for watching and for being part of our community. We will see you in the next video with more news from inside the palace walls. Stay tuned because the drama is only getting bigger.